Welcome to Smith Neck Meeting House of the Dartmouth Monthly Meeting of Friends the Quakers. The land for this meeting house was given by Susan B. Anthony's relative, Captain Caleb Anthony, in 1819. Today, I'd like to introduce to you Marion Baker, a visiting friend with a ministry to the women and youth in East Africa. Gail Schultz, a member of Marion's USA Support Committee, and especially Margaret Amudavi, the academic dean of Friends Theology School in Kenya.
Hello. I'm going to ask Margaret and Marion some questions. I'm Gail Schultz from the Support Committee, Marion's Support Committee for Women. Margaret, tell us about your school.
Thank you very much. Friends Theological College, FTC, is a school that was started in 1942, and it's called Friends Theological College, former FBI, Friends Bible Institute, and currently the principal is Dr. Robert Wafula, and I serve as an academic dean of the college.
Tell us about some of the programs that your college has, that you have.
The college offers academic programs at 3 levels. We have a 1-year certificate in pastoral ministry, a 3-year diploma in theology, that is the equivalent of the U.S. associate degree, and a 4-year post-diploma, that is degree or bachelor's program, as it is commonly known in Kenya, the equivalent of U.S. bachelor's degree. We have the main campus at Kaimosi, but we also have 3 external campuses, one in Lugulu, also a mission of Friends Quakers. We also have another yearly meeting called the Lugari, where we recently set up a certificate program, and we also have a campus in Nairobi. Currently, Friends Theological College has 90 students, both residential and school-based. When I talk about school-based, it means those who come during holidays when public schools have closed. And in Lugulu, currently we have 25 students. Lugari has 18 students, and Nairobi campus has 8 students. We are also anticipating to begin another campus in Chepiusi. This is another yearly meeting in Kenya. And also we have a need-based program at Samburu. Thank you.
Friends might find it interesting to get a picture of what is happening, because if you look at the largest number of friends in the world, they're located in Western Kenya, which is, Western Kenya, it's about the size, Kenya itself is about the size of Texas or all of New England. And the largest number of friends in the world are all just in the western side of it, the western province especially, with some that have moved into the cities in Nairobi. And so we now have 20 yearly meetings of friends in the Kakamega and Kisumu and Kitale area. And they also have sent a few up into the north, into Samburu and Turkana. And then gradually they have now gone across the border into Uganda, and you can see a whole lot of meetings basically within walking distance of the border, and a group in Tanzania. But they've also, even within Uganda themselves, they have reached out, and now they're going in the western part of their country. And again, in Tanzania, they've gone around Lake Victoria, which is bigger than Lake Superior. They've gone around there and started groups there, and they're in the process of going down to Arusha. So friends are growing, and as a result when Dr. Robert Wafula started came back to the Friends Theological College. At that time, there were only 27 students. And now there's something like 145 when you add the main campus plus the satellites.
Thank you.
In addition, I wanted to say that Friends Theological College seeks to integrate faith, scripture, and theology in training the present and future leaders of the Quaker churches in East Africa, and to foster individual hearts and lives, the process of maturing in Christ. And by this, we say we offer courses like community development besides biblical theology and also pastoral courses. We also have mission and evangelism because we cross the borders to Uganda and Tanzania to minister to areas where Quakers have not yet reached. And also we do social sciences like church response to HIV and AIDS to meet some of the social needs in the communities that our pastors serve. And therefore, we are proud to say that we also integrate some of the income-generating projects to help empower pastors so that as they go out with faith, they can also teach the churches on how to use available resources to tap them in order to create wealth and support themselves. Thank you.
It sounds like your program has grown. Can you tell us a little bit more about the chaplaincy program?
Thank you. The government of Kenya allows churches that are sponsors or that started those schools before they were taken over by the government to have the right and responsibility of enhancing the faith and practice of their church. And so as a church, the Quaker Church also have chaplains programs in various schools. And because their challenges are getting complex each and every day, FTC took it upon herself to start chaplains program so as to offer specialized courses that will help pastors be equipped, ready to go and deal with those challenges in all our Quaker schools based in many parts of the country, especially the western part of Kenya. As I speak, I have also been serving as a chaplain in a boys' Quaker school called Friends Kaimosi Boys, and I have learned a lot. It's a very wonderful experience to minister to those youngsters, because when you are there, you serve many roles as a parent, as a friend, as a spiritual leader, and sometimes you are there to do counseling, because these students can confide in you some things that they can never confide in another person. So it is very important, and it is growing. Right now in Lugulu, I know there are like 10 students who are taking chaplaincy. Already we have graduated 10 students, and they are serving in various secondary and primary schools in western part of Kenya. And we are willing to expand these programs even to our external campuses so that we can meet the growing needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. How about your anti-violence programs? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We know that the Quaker Church has been on the forefront in enhancing peace and calling for peace throughout the world. And as a college, we also support this because it's one of the values that we hold dear to our hearts. And because of that, for many, many years, Friends Theological College has participated in training leaders for alternative to violence programs. But at some point, we had stopped a little, but we planning to start offering these workshops to all our students, and we are going to make it mandatory that every student who passed through FTC must undergo basic, advanced, and trainers of trainers workshops so that they may be equipped with skills to go out there and minister to people, especially train others in how to deal with violent issues in a non-violent way. And because of that, we are committed to doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. I know we had a previous discussion. Is there anything more about your programs or anything that you'd like to share with us?
Also, you know, since we want to integrate the courses that will meet the needs of a whole person, that is body, soul, and mind, we also offer courses like community development, and we offer it in both theoretical and practical manner to equip students so that when they go out, they can also support themselves, like tent making, sort of, instead of just wholly depending on the churches, and also to train the churches on how to use the available resources to create more wealth so that they can sustain themselves and sustain the people who labor for the church. So we do this, and especially we have a friend from the US called Karen Bauer. They usually come once a year with a team from the Berkeley University, that is students plus a professor. And when they come, when the school is in session and we are offering community development course, our students team up with them to go into the various villages to offer labor and skill of building houses to the most vulnerable widows and poor children, especially orphans, because who have been ejected because of cultural practices that are retrogressive. And they also buy some of the very needed household equipment, and so they help empower these widows. So children learn to know that you might not have money to offer, but if you have a skill, that skill is very important. It can help. When you go to the community and you see that this is an elderly person and the house is falling apart, you don't have to have money. Maybe you can, what they do is they can mobilize a few youth who are willing, go and just do something for this person, and that is also service to God, and it comes as a result of the skill in community-based development and the theology of development. Thank you.
I know that you mentioned something about cows when we were first talking.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
This is a project that was started several years back in, I say, 2006, 7, 8 there. And this was started as a way to enhance what we call financial stability in the college. Apart from receiving some help from overseas friends, Quakers, we also wanted to do something to show that we can do something on our own to subsidize what we have been given. So the dairy farming is doing very well. Currently, we have around 20 heads of cows, and mostly we keep dairy cows, and the bulls we sell off so that we can expand this project. And staff and students, we buy milk from our dairy, and also people from the neighboring, because we live in a complex and we have other institutions, they love our milk because our milk is pure. We don't try to add water, or we don't know to increase and sell more. And so people come to buy, and sometimes we say no because maybe it's not enough. So it's doing very well. The people who work there are sustained by the income from the dairy farm. And so we are happy to have that project. I feel it is very sustainable currently.
And one thing they have found is that they have a few students who work along with the cows and also learn some things that they can then share in the villages when they get back. So they're learning in addition to just raising some money of themselves.
Beginning soon. Oh, in addition, we are planning to start poultry because poultry is easy to manage. It doesn't cost a lot. You just have to need a space and a little maintenance. You do not have technical skills to start poultry project. And we can sell eggs, we can sell meat, especially in Western Kenya where chicken is a delicacy and people love chicken. And so market is ready and the price is good. So that is another project in pipeline. But we have also a multi-million complex, which is a long-term project, which has started. We have started raising money to put up a story building. It costs around 30 million Kenyan shillings. And if it is finished, because we have now a university around and we have an explosion of student population who are looking for housing. So if this project is implemented successfully, we see a lot of income increasing in the future. So it is also a prayer, and we still ask for the support that the U.S. friends continue to support us to realize this, because once it is done, maybe we will stop asking too much from you and ask little. Thank you.
I'm going to switch your topic a little bit. I wonder if you could tell us what your master's degree was in and your specialty, specifically the one that you were sharing with us.
When I started at Friends Theological 2000, I did diploma in theology, and then I proceeded 2004 to Kenya Highlands Evangelical University to take bachelor's in Christian education. I was recalled back to teach the courses. I teach biblical courses, but then I enrolled again for master's program. Initially, I wanted to do theology of development so that when I come back, I can deal with the need I saw in the church that we have a lot of resources, and yet many churches are very poor. They cannot sustain even the ministers. And so when I went to St. Paul's University, I enrolled in Theology of Development program. But when we finished the common courses, I realized that we are only two in that specialization, and so they couldn't offer us a teacher to to instruct us in that line. So I switched to organizational development. So I graduated 2012 with Masters in Development Studies, but specializing in organizational development. And as I say, this course is also relevant. Little did I know that God is preparing me to do some management in my college, and I have really benefited a lot, especially in the areas of performing management, systems thinking, operation, balance scorecard, how to balance the business aspect of the college with customers, and then workers, employees, and all this. So I think that young upcoming women, I should encourage them to take courses that are known for only men, that you can do it. And once you rise, you become like a very good model to others, especially from the cultures which put down women, like in Tanzania, where women are married off at a very young age. Like once they undergo FGM, they are married off at the age of 12, 13, 14. And it's very difficult to find a young woman in Tanzania, especially Western Serengeti area, who is 18 and not married. If you are 18, you are too old. You either marry as a second, third, or fourth wife. But I challenge the world out there, educate a girl child, especially in Africa, because once you educate a child, you have not educated just one person, but families, because we are mothers of these great men in the world.
Thank you, Margaret. I'm going to switch now and ask Marion. Last year, we had a movie about you from the Dartmouth Community Television, and it told about your program. And so I was wondering if you would update us on the women and youth in Kenya.
Sure. It's been amazing, actually, what God has been doing. Because from just a simple someone feeling called to go and give some support to women in ministry, it's developed into a program way beyond I could have ever thought out myself. So I really see God in the whole thing. And it's developed into a program of working with Kenyan women friends pastors and literally walking across the border some of the time into Uganda and Tanzania, and finding ways by a very simple way of just living, going and being willing to stay in the homes and share the same food and sleep in the whatever kind of house they happen to have. We can find very quickly what the real needs are, even sometimes what things they need, but they don't realize it. And other times we find out why they have not been able to progress. And so one thing we've done, such as in Tanzania, we've had to, all kinds of training and teaching has to be done, realizing that the women didn't get the opportunity because they marry so early to not use any abstract words. And so when you do something like trying to teach how to cooperate, how to organize a women's group and that kind of thing, we can't use any of those words. We have to practically sort of say what woman lives near a river and has extra driftwood that might wash down. Bring that's firewood. Who grows some sunflowers? That's oil. If you grow rice, bring rice. If you have some chickens, bring a chicken. And when they did that, they brought whatever they had. It was amazing because we ended up that past year with watermelon and lamb and fish and just wonderful things that we all feasted together. And they were very excited and very willing to join in the cooking, and there's no problem, organizing it just naturally. It happened. And they were very excited that they could actually do it themselves. And it wasn't somebody from outside coming and saying, you have to come from here, you have to raise so much money, and that kind of thing. So it's been a challenge how you say things in a way, in stories and practical hands-on to explain, and then get the women very excited who are actually now starting to do it. And for example, one thing we also did is we found some women who showed some leadership ability, and we quietly gave them an opportunity to go and visit across the border in Kenya at one of the women's conferences and see how they do it. And one thing they picked up was how you recognize older women. What they call it is women of substance. The kind of women, not just because they're old, but because they have something, a role model. And so they created it more almost like a wedding and having a procession and singing and dancing. And then when it came the time of, they wanted to copy the Kenyans who put a around the neck of the person, instead of using a piece of tinsel or some Chinese thing they have bought cheaply, they instead just strung together a whole bunch of cookies, edible cookies and a few sweets. And we thought that was so clever, using the stuff they had to create their own version of what makes sense. And so it's been a real joy to see that. And the other thing that has happened has been, such as in Uganda, we came across the real need for children, working with children. And maybe Margaret could share what she helped me discover when we were in Uganda this last year.
Thank you, Marian. Last December, I happened to accompany Marian plus other three ladies to Uganda. And during the session, we saw children just roaming, playing, making noise, and then we decided, why can't we take these children out and play with them so that their mothers can listen to the speaker? So we went out and we started playing their games. We told them to teach us how to play, so we were playing. We ran around, and then when you are tapped, you go in the center and dance, whichever way you want to dance. And after that, we decided we want to see if we can teach them a simple lesson from the Bible. So I asked, who knows David in the Bible? And then everybody was silent. Who knows Moses, Abraham? We realized that these children have never been introduced to the stories of the Bible. So what I started is I looked at the verse in the center of the Bible, which talks about it is better to trust in God than to put confidence in man. And then we brought in the story of David and Goliath, and then we enacted it. And we involved the children. The tallest became Goliath. The youngest, who is very, very outgoing, became David. And at the end of it, children were happy. They had learned something. We were even able to teach them a memory verse. And they were so excited they were able to memorize the verse. Those who could read at least the class, like grade 8, there was a girl who led others in memorizing the verse. And so the next day when we came, the number had increased and we taught the same. And then we decided to take it into the session because they had asked us to teach about Sunday school. So instead of us maybe just speaking, giving us a written presentation, we taught little on how you can teach children. Then we finished by involving children to do a drama on David and Goliath, and then focusing on the object of the lesson, that is trusting in God. And so by the end, we discovered that even women in the church benefited. Some of them had never heard the story, and they were like very amazed. And that is why when we went back to Kenya, Marian mobilized a few Sunday school teachers and went back to hold a workshop. They offered a workshop to those who can pick up from there and do Sunday school and teach children to understand biblical stories as they grow in their faith in Christ.
And when we went and did that in Tanzania, we found that that there were two older women who were there along with some other younger women and a few younger men who wanted to be trained and teach Sunday school. And what we ended up, the two older women were actually there to help prepare some of the food, and they were sitting there chopping up the vegetables and that kind of stuff and listening in very intently on everything we were doing. And at the last day, when we asked each one to choose a Bible story, and we made a sort of a list so they could find them quickly, and then act them out using some of the simple methods we had shown them, they both also took part. And then at the end, we just gave them a simple certificate saying they had attended this training. And for those two women, they just started jumping up and down, with joy, singing and dancing, because evidently they had never received a certificate in their lives for anything. So it gave them great honor to be recognized that they had some skills that they could actually do something. And then when it came into Uganda, as a result of the training, for one thing, they copied a song we had learned in Tanzania and brought it over to Uganda, and they used that song and literally danced, a line dance all the way around the meeting house, and even attracted some kids in the area. And then they said, we need to have a national Sunday school committee so we can keep in touch, and they carefully wrote up the list of everybody, their cell numbers, how to reach each other. And they said, well, we need to choose some leaders. So we sat down and went over what qualities you need for each leader, and they actually ended up voting, which normally Friends don't do, but in this case it was a way of quietly writing what they wanted without others seeing what they were doing. And they chose their leaders and have created a committee not made up of just one area of Uganda, but it's now spread all the way across Uganda. And then the other thing, which really surprised us, was that at the end of it, they said, well, if you appoint a treasurer, they've got to have some money. So they themselves took up a collection and raised 24,000 Tanzanian shillings, which is nothing in American dollars. But it was a tremendous sense of, we actually can do something ourselves. And so it's been a real joy. And we see that this is definitely a need. We'll be doing a lot more on focusing on the ways of helping in Sunday schools, and also teaching the new, the godly play and the faith and play, the Quaker version of it. We're going to try and do that, and possibly getting it into Swahili so it can be used in Tanzania. So, and the other thing we noticed is when Margaret discovered, as we were in Uganda letting the children act it out with the women didn't know the stories of the children or of the women in the Bible. Most of the pastors are men, so they've talked about the male ones, but they haven't really talked about Ruth and Naomi and very important women. So there's still a lot that can be done, and there's so much opportunity to help. And so the Kenyan women are finding it's really exciting to be able to go forth and do something that's making a difference, rather than just staying in your own little place forever and ever, dealing with local politics or whatever.
Something else that we discovered is that women in Uganda and Tanzania, they only depend on their men to supply money for them to go to a conference. So we said, no, you shouldn't do that. You can start saving, make a small saving can or a pot that you cannot open until that day when you are ready to crash it and open your savings. So begin by dropping in money from the beginning of the year, so that by the time the conferences come in December, you have something, so that when you ask these men to add on, it becomes easier for you to collect enough to send more women to conferences than saying, oh, my husband did not give me money to go. They will not give you. They will not allow them to go, because they will learn something that will empower them. Otherwise, that was what we are doing, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to share. Okay, we want to finish by singing a song. It's actually a worship song, because it speaks about the attributes of God, what God can do, because he is able. We will just sing a few lines in Swahili and English, and friends in the US, you can join us as we sing together to claim that God is all-powerful. Mtakatifu, mtakatifu, mtakatifu Bwana, mtakatifu unaweza Bwana. Mtakatifu, mtakatifu, mtakatifu Bwana, mtakatifu unaweza Bwana. Bwana. You are able, you are able, you are able, oh Lord. You are able, you are able, oh Lord. You are able, you are able, you are able, you are able, oh Lord. You are able, dear Lord. You are able, you are able, you are able, dear Lord. You are able, dear Lord. This song talks about the goodness of the Lord when He is on the throne, when He reigns, then everything on the earth is good. It's okay. That is, we enjoy to be in the beauty of the presence of God. Mambo sawa sawa, mambo sawa, mambo sawa sawa. Yes, akiwa enzini, mambo sawa sawa, mambo sawa sawa, mambo sawa sawa, mambo sawa, mambo sawa sawa, mambo sawa sawa. Yes, akiwa enzini, mambo sawa sawa, mambo sawa sawa, mambo sawa sawa. Things already better. Things already better. When the Lord is on the throne, things are already better. Things already better. Things already better. Things already better. Hallelujah. Things already better. When the Lord is on the throne, things already better. Things already better. Things already better. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa. Yes, akiwa enzini. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa. Mambo sawa sawa. Hallelujah. Mambo sawa sawa. Yes, akiwa enzini. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa. Mambo sawa sawa.